Let's talk about love and marriage the way that God intended. Life experience, here we share it. The No Fruit Podcast. Tune in from any platform. No Fruit Podcast. Will help your spirit transform.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
That's y'all should have seen her head, the way her head bounced. So we're gonna stick on this special idea of being special for this month, for this time period. She's special. That was a special nod.
It's my I dream of Jeannie nod.
Yo, the fact that she did it again. Yo, all right, so here's my question to you, right?
To me?
Can y'all please express to us, whether it's in a comment of the show, also, leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, rate us on Apple, things or whatever else. So, but just interact with us, right? But let us know whether or not we should start doing these doing these podcasts as a video. Because the fact that she sat here and did the I Dream of Jeannie thing, right? But here's the other thing too. So because her hair, so like most women, like they have their hair and they, pull it back behind their ear, whatever else. They always got this one little piece of hair that's like curled up in the front.
Mm-hmm.
And she had the Clark Kent look. As she nodded her head. And when she did that, you would expect for that one hair to bounce. It stayed in place. Is that joint frizzy? Is that joint like frizzed up, moosed up, holding spray? Okay, I mean, now you got it back, but it stayed in place.
It did not. It went into my eye.
Your head bounced so hard.
Mm-hmm, my neck hurts.
Special.
I can't do it again.
Special. That's what I mean by special.
I'm gonna need a special neck massage later on.
She's gonna need to go see a specialist. We're going to get that $40 copay together.
Oh my!
Shoot, because that was hard. That was ridiculous. I don't know why she did that.
Oh goodness.
Are you okay?
No.
I what's the copay? $40? $60? What kind of? We need to go to urgent care. What you need? Because that was ridiculous. I'm surprised that you even. Why would you even do that hard?
I don't know.
And now, it's real weird right now. It's real crazy special. So anyway,
Special K. What?
Oh gosh. Anyway, like we are so far off a topic.
We didn't even give a topic.
I know we didn't, but the idea for
Everything
the show.
for laughs and giggles.
There was what show was that where I just couldn't stop laughing?
It was recent.
Yeah. But one of the things I had wanted to talk about, I heard not too long ago about doing things out of love and not expectancy. And because we're in this special space, that is a special quality.
Yeah.
That's a special characteristic.
And we're not trained that way.
Not at all.
You hear the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So you're expecting something back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do this because I would want you to do it to me.
Right.
We do things and we give hoping that, again, that someone would recognize us, or, again, that we would then have that, if we were in the same situation. So, I don't think that people are necessarily do a lot of things just like, hey, out of love, I'm just doing this just because. But, you have some expectation of the end result, or some acknowledgement, of passing and getting an A, of getting a raise, whatever it might be. Like, there is some expectation and some a goal or whatever in it outside of me. Hey, I'm just doing this because I love to do it, or because I love you, or because I just want to. So there is a difference there. I can say yes.
So, and I'm saying that it is special because the mentality that you have to have in order to do anything out of love versus expectations or expectancy is totally different. So, Kafa,
Maurice.
you, as you stated in numerous shows, you cook for us every day, right? Do you do that out of love or you do that out of expectancy? So I'll let you answer, but I'll say from the perspective of where we sit, right? I have to say that it is out of love because there are times where you look like you hate doing it in the moment. And here's what I mean by that. You're tired.
Right.
You're you're frustrated because sometimes we eat, sometimes we don't eat, sometimes people play around with their food, sometimes whatever the situation is, right? So there's a level of also frustration, right?
Yes.
Also, so we talk about not eating it. Along with it, I think we talked about this on another episode where you are in short cook form, short order cook form, and you're making almost literally 4 dinners at one time. That's the way it comes off.
Right.
It may not be that extreme, but it's 4 of us. It's 4 dinners, and that's not including the cat, because sometimes the cat wants some love at the same time, right? So it's 5. So and so in that has to take a very special person to operate in that space, in those moments. And I don't want to lose track of that. I understand, you have your answer, but I wanted to say that to you because I don't want you to feel as though your answer would have influenced my answer. I wanted you to hear it from the heart first, from my outside looking in, from being your husband, your friend, whatever, that it takes a very special person to want to do that in the midst of it all, throughout whatever the situation is. So, so that's just, a part of the answer. I mean, there's a plethora more that goes with that, but that's just a little tidbit. So what's your...
I think, like you said, in general, it's out of love. I love you all, and I want everyone to eat well. I think somewhere in the back of my mind, it's like, okay, if I don't prepare dinner, then what is everyone going to consume? Half of us will have junk food, meaning, even if it's a cold cut sandwich, to me, that's not dinner. You know what I mean? So...
and you're right.
Can it suffice? Not, I apologize for those who do. I mean, have we done it? Yes, we've had cold cuts for dinner, but is that something that I'm going to say, like, that's on our rotating menu? No. So I think I do it out of love. I do it out of concern for everyone having a starch, vegetable, and a meat, because I know, again, if it's left up to everyone's own vices, even in my own, like if I didn't have to cook, I'd probably just eat a bowl of cereal and keep it going, but that's not nutritional. It doesn't check off all the boxes the way that our nutritionist says that we should, especially with me having an iron deficiency and so forth and so on. So, I need a little bit more. So, and then knowing, again, like Maurice said, hey, everyone has different dietary needs in our household. So I want to try to make sure that, again, at least once a day, so we all have a good meal. And it checks off, again, some of those, components that the U.S. government says we should have.
Well, let me say something real quick. Sometimes, and let's be totally honest, sometimes some of the people in this household, that's the only meal they're eating that day.
Right.
So there's a little bit more to it, to that sometimes. One. Number two, I don't want to get too lost in the weeds with this, but I know Kafa apologized for those individuals who might be eating, a cold cut sandwich or whatever else. Now, let's be honest. We understand that everyone does not have the financial means to always do something a little bit more than that, right? But let's put this in perspective.
But I'm also going to be perspective and really think about it. A cold cut sandwich for everybody is more expensive than if I just made flapjacks for everybody.
Yeah, it can be.
You know what I mean? I can get a whole box of flapjacks for,
Right.
$2.99, $1.99 because they was on sale. You know what I mean? So, and make a tall stack for everybody out of one box.
And
all I got to do is add water. You know what I mean? So, cold cuts, I went near to the market. I'm sorry we're getting off on this, but it was like $10.99 a pound.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I got to get a loaf of bread, which is $4.59.
Right. Come
on. So, again, to feed a family of 4 and just have cold cuts, and I'm not even talking about lettuce, but even if, mayonnaise, Miracle Whip, whatever you putting on your sandwich, that price has jumped up too. So
it would be more expensive for you to do that versus, like you said, just pancakes.
Right.
So the pancake batter, right, could be, like you said, $2 at the most. Let's say $5. Let's get benefit of the doubt because somebody might be bougie enough and say, hey, I want a certain name brand. Right. So let's say $5. And then also syrup. Let's say, again, that's $10. Right. But let's be honest, though. How many...
And a stick of butter, okay.
And so how many pancakes can you make for $12? You get what I mean? Versus a pound of... And Kafa just said the meat. She didn't say you got meat and cheese.
Right.
You get what I mean? And she did. She mentioned bread, and then she mentioned... Like she said, either mayonnaise or Miracle Whip, right? Or salad dressing, quote unquote.
Lettuce, tomato, depending on how deep you want to get in everything. But it's expensive.
Now, we also understand that pancakes alone does not necessarily have the nutritional value. Not alone. So can you add blueberries to it? Can you add something else to it? Yeah, you can. Again, to make it so that it has a little more nutritional value. It can stretch a little bit, whatever else. You can doctor that up a little bit more. So I just wanted to say that part real quick. Like, I didn't want to take away from what you're saying.
Right.
But understanding the value in that.
Because you went on the cold cut, dollar amount. And I just wanted to say that it's not necessarily that. I think everybody can make their own sandwich, and it's it can be an individualized thing.
Right.
Or it can be, hey, I'm making sandwiches for everybody, because I've done that as well. Like, hey, we're having all grilled, cold cut sandwiches with French fries or chips or, whatever it might have been to get the deli feel. But, back to Maurice's question, because my mind is going other places, because I'm thinking about some of our true bargain meals when we had to bargain things out. You can get some drumsticks for 69 cents a pound when they on sale, or 99 cents a pound, and then be like, look, I know it had 10 drumsticks in the pack, but I'm gonna cook up just 4 or 5 of those joints, stew them down, and we're gonna put that over some noodles, and that's what we're gonna have. You know what I mean? So those 4 or 5 drumsticks have now become a whole meal of its own, and sometimes you even have leftovers, or make it chicken and dumplings. You know what I mean? So it's been ways that we have had to stretch $1 for everyone. But again, providing a meal for everyone has been a challenge. And I think that's what Maurice is saying. Sometimes I feel frustrated in providing and coming up with a good menu that everyone is fed nutritiously, as well as meets their own dietary preferences.
And it doesn't help that everyone is literally on a different schedule.
Right. Timing wise, everyone's not sitting down at the table at the same time.
Right.
The way that we once were. Now, we all get together, when we can. Most days, we get together and we pray, and then, hey, get your meal when you can. But again, he's asking whether or not I do it out of love or do it out of expectancy. And I guess the question is, well, what am I expecting? Am I expecting everyone to eat? Am I expecting someone to do that in return? Or, hey, I cook, Monday through Friday. Somebody else can do it on Saturday and Sunday.
Are you expecting a thank you? Are you expecting, some type of self-gratification or whatever it is?
Am I expecting them to do the dishes and clean it up?
Excuse me.
So I don't do it with any expectation. I'm not to the point where, I cooked, so you have to clean up. I'm not at that point. I'm not at the point of, hey, I cook these days, so you have to cook or figure it out on your own on other days. I don't mind cooking, and I don't mind eating. So, I have a benefit out of it. If I cook, and I think I said this jokingly to Maurice last week was, and I don't know how we got on the topic, but I was like, that's control for me. And I'm not a control freak, but the fact that I get to pick the menu and say, well, tonight we're having this, like it or not. And we're not one of those parents who's like, well, you're going to sit at this table and eat what I made, type of a thing. But I'm not saying, you can step in the kitchen and cook a whole nother meal. I have done the short order thing. I'm like, hey, if I'm making something where I'll make 2 meats, I'll say, but everybody can share the sides.
But see, understand, because, and let's be honest, in that 2 of us eat pork, the other 2 really do not. Not really. One does not at all, and the other one is hit or miss, right? But most times, I just say probably it feels like almost 90-95% of the time, the other person does not eat pork either. When it comes to, for an example, let's say beef, right? So it all depends on how it's prepared. If it's prepared as a meatloaf, then 3 out of 4 will eat it. But if it's prepared as a steak, like I'm going to be honest with you, I got a taste for steak right now, right? But I'm probably going to be 1 out of the 4. Kaf, you may eat it, but that's also hit or miss, right? So I think some of this too is the what we as individuals have a taste for. You as the preparer, 9 times out of 10, what you feel like cooking, now that does not mean that we have not say, all right, Kaf, we're cooking today, or it's not like she hasn't asked for one of us to cook or whatever. So, I mean, we everyone does their part, but I think that because of her desire, and if you listen to one of the other episodes where she talks about cooking, I said, hey, the part of that is her grandmom. Her grandmom loves to cook too. I think that's a part of that. Some of that desire of feeding the nation, quote unquote.
Right. I'm a junior big mama.
Yeah, right. So I think that's some of that.
Oh, gosh.
So here we are. Remember, we started off this show talking about special. We're going to get you a t-shirt. And we're going, if y'all see a JBM on a t-shirt on our store, positivenrgshop.com, I could put JBM and put a big old turkey on there or something.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, people, I mean, if you listen to the show, I mean, it's going to say No Fruit Podcast, like, express what it is or whatever it is, yeah. Yeah. But it has to be, and it has to be, it probably
needs to maybe
be
JRBM, like junior.
I mean, it'd be something. It'll be, don't be surprised if y'all don't see that.
Oh, goodness.
So the question is, again, doing it out of love or expectancy. And there are times that I know for myself, I've done things out of expectancy. I expect to get acknowledgement. I expect for people to run and jump and this and that and dot, right? Again, the reality is that people don't care. And I hate to say it like that, but in a lot of cases, and I'm going to be honest with y'all, Kyle and I, we talked about this and how, my dream has been to do what, Kyle? What was one of my dreams? Where I wanted people to say, good job, Maurice, and I want to prove people wrong. For those of you who don't know, I wanted to buy a really, really big house, right? I want to buy a really big house. Why are you laughing?
You said you wanted this videotaped, so this is going to be interesting.
Well, I asked y'all, did y'all want us to do this? And maybe y'all can see that because y'all can see my hands fluttering like I'm a bird or a bat or something. My fingers are twisting like, forget you, boy. Whatever, right?
But you wanted a really big house.
I want a really big house. And a lot of that is because of hearing things like that will never work. That's not going to happen. And you can't do that. You're not good enough. You're not strong enough. Nobody's that strong, Marie. Like, I've heard so many different things over the years that were not necessarily people that I weren't related to. It was, some of this stuff come from people that I was related to.
Right.
And so sometimes you get caught up in, hey, I want to prove these individuals wrong because they don't believe that their person that they help nurture, grow, whatever it is, to become bigger and better than them. Well, I wanted to prove them wrong. Well, understanding that when you do stuff for expectancy and not out of love, so, hey, I want to get a big house. Well, if you do it out of that, you're concentrating on the wrong thing, right? God is love, right? If you do it with a God focused,
right,
then things are going to transpire. Not going to always transpire exactly how you want it to be, but it's going to be something that you need because he needs to still get the glory out of that, right?
Right.
He needs to still be acknowledged in that. And there's a specific purpose for that particular item, situation, whatever it might be, whether it's a car, a house, a boat, even buying a can of tuna. It doesn't matter what the situation is. Are you doing it out of love or expectancy? If you're doing it for the wrong reason, it's going to come out incorrectly. And then what's going to happen, and it's funny because now let's put this in perspective. A lot of these things are coming from, people that we've listened to preach and, all that type of stuff, or whatever it is, and conversations or whatever. And so the individual, the pastor that we heard when he said something about doing something out of love versus expectancy, he was referring to a young couple that were he came off with the way he was expressing or talking to them as if they're relatively newly married. Let's say under 5 years. I don't know how long, but relatively 5 years. That's the way it came off. And I'm not sure what their real life, situation was, but as he was speaking to them, praying over them, and however God was using the pastor at that particular time, saying to them to do it out of love. Well, that just reminded me of how things that we may or may not have done over the 25 years with us. Because we got so caught up in the nonsense.
Or what we wanted.
Right.
Again, when you're thinking about the fruit and the expectation, and you're expecting fruit to come out, then you focus on that, but what do you have to pour in? What do you have to do in order for fruit to be produced? What do you have to do in order for that flower, on that rose bush to blossom?
Right.
We have this bush in the back of our house in the yard.
That's the saddest little bush.
Don't talk about it. And, we don't give it much love.
It needs
at
something
all.
special.
It needs sun. We have a huge tree as well. So the bush sits a little bit under the tree. And it's a lilac bush. And you guys have heard me talk about this lilac bush. When it does flower, it's a beautiful lilac smell in the spring.
I don't remember that thing flowering since we've been here.
It has.
Only once.
Twice.
Okay. We've been here for 7-8 years and it's only come up twice?
Yeah, because you whack it.
I haven't touched it in a while.
Yeah, in a while. So
Actually, it's probably mad at me because I try to tie it to the back of my Durango and pull it and yank it the heck out the grass.
yeah. So
It's mad.
I talked to it this spring, so maybe next spring it'll produce.
Did you say I'm sorry? Do I need to go outside singing Boys and Men song?
No.
As Yet song. Like, do I need to sing to it?
No, you don't need to. You
I don't
can
need
just you
Okay.
can just walk by it and say,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Do I need to give it roses?
You don't need to give a lilac bush roses. Silly.
To get it.
So, anyway, so
Gosh.
again, what are we doing to the ground for where this lilac bush is?
We doing what?
What are we doing to the ground, the soil, where its roots are?
Oh, we're not doing nothing.
Exactly. I think we've tended to the grass that's around it. I even tried tying it up because it was looking a little sad. So I was like,
Nothing the rabbits.
so silly. So I tried to tame it and bring it together and let it know, hey, here are your other lilac branches. Like, that's.
Squeeze it out.
I did. I squeezed it all together. Marie's like, that's not enough rope. It was the right amount, and it's holding up, and it's all together. So, going back to my point of
The rabbits.
in love, doing things out of love and not expectancy. So when I tied it up, I wasn't like, oh, I'm tying this up and pruning this back, so expecting new flowers. I was just like, I need to show you some love, plant. Like, you out here and you're just out here. Like, we haven't shown you any love. So I pruned back some of the dead branches and gave it some love. So we'll see what happens. I did it out of love. But I think when we do things out of expectancy, like that, as you always say, that limits God.
Mm-hmm.
That limits what can actually happen because we're only expecting this. You know what I mean? So, and God may have something even greater and larger for us, but if we're just only expecting that big house, I'm sorry, Marie said the big house, but God might want to put us in a big house. God might want to give us a whole lot of houses.
Well, see, here's a thought about that, too. See, yeah, we can be praying for one thing, right? Looking for this one situation. So, and we're going to use the house analysis. Kafa asked me not too long ago, Maurice, which one would you like? Because I really want not just a house, I want land, right?
Right.
And so, and she could attest to this. Like, we watch, and I think we talked about this too. We watch a lot of people making farms and gardens and all this other type of stuff. So
and
maybe
houses and cars, like we watch it all.
Maybe it's because of our old age, we want some of this stuff, right? I would rather be a homesteader or whatever they call that stuff, right? Sometimes. And
He wants to be
because
off grid.
I don't want to be totally off grid.
Okay.
I don't want to be all by myself. I know Kafa, I know you don't want to be off grid.
No.
You don't want to be by it. You want people.
I don't want, like...
You said you don't want the next person to be 30 miles away.
No, not 30 miles away, but some of these houses you're looking at, I'm like, how's that $1 million house and I can see into my neighbor's house? I don't want to see into their house if I'm paying $1 million.
Right. But the point is that, Maurice, do you want... So let's say you have an acre lot.
An acre lot.
All right? And on that acre lot, do you want a house that's 8,000, 10,000, 12,000 square feet? Or could you deal with one that's only 2,000 square feet? Mm-hmm. Now, let's understand what that means. What's the opportunities? On a 1 acre lot, let's say it's square. Let's just give it square. I want to paint the picture a little bit better. Let's say it's square. 12,000 square foot home on a 1 acre lot. That's still a lot of land on a thing, right?
Yes.
But if you got 2,000, in all honesty, is just enough for Kafa and I. Because if we're saying, hey, the children will be moving on, because most people do. Most kids do. They find their own person and all that type of stuff. Well, if I have an acre lot, especially looking at how these people are doing things right now, can we put another 1 or 2 tiny homes on that land? Again, that's a ongoing trend right now, right? But is this something where they could have their own spot, still be on the land, but have their own people and situations or whatever on that land? And that's still enough to put a pool and all that stuff on there. Trust me, we've been looking. I've been doing the research. So, but it also depends on where you are, what's the cost, yada yada yada. Like there's other little tips.
So again, that expectancy, I think, is are you getting an 8,000 square foot home out of love or expectancy? And then what is the expectation of your family, your kids, your offspring, your extended family, being parents and in-laws? Are you now expected to have every single holiday dinner? Are you expected to, have the grandkids over all summer long? Because now you have this $8,000 square foot home and the pool and everything else that goes in with it. Is your home now everybody's vacation spot? Because you have the bowling alley, you have the basketball court, and you have, all of those attractions that most people would go. Because that's the other thing. It's like, I want a resort style home. So if your home is the home away from, where people go to, are your cousins and everybody else like, hey, cuz, I'm coming over.
Well, see,
or do you open your door and say, hey, if you, want to get away, come on up.
But see, that's where the struggle has been, because as you and I talk, Carl, sometimes we like people and sometimes we don't. Let's be 100%
right. But again,
honest.
are we doing it out of love, or what's the expectancy, as you're saying? So out of the 2,000 square foot home with an acre versus the 10,000 square foot home with an acre. So again, if you have a bunch of little cottages, tiny homes, or, hey, I don't have a game room in my house. I actually go down the way because I have a little game house. You know what I mean? I go there and play all my games.
I mean, because some of that too is the, as we're younger, when we were younger, we had a lot of people around us.
Yes.
We had a lot of friends and all that type of stuff, and people would crash at the crib. Mm-hmm. So in some cases, yes, we would like that, right? At one point in time.
Right. But as we're getting older,
I don't know if I like them like that.
But that's the thing.
True.
But that's the thing. As we're getting older, if we invite people over, we know they're old. So your old behind ain't driving all the way back home. Going over to that, and you got an extra room and everything is there. You know what I mean? Your old behind ain't. So stay.
If you don't feel like driving, you can crash if you want to.
Right. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, before it was just like, I don't know why they didn't leave, because they were young and had vehicles and just didn't go. But I think that's the other part that we're dealing with is, as Maurice is saying, is it out of love or expectancy? Yeah. So I think for, for some of it, it's out of love. Like we want this, you want the, how'd you say it? Big house. Yeah, you want the big house so that out of love, people can come and hang out and you can share love with your friends. Because
a lot of times, especially now that we've all been through the kid stage, right? Now we have children, quote, right? Because they've grown up and they're not necessarily up underneath of us and all that type of stuff now. So people aren't, because in the very beginning, people were being there with us 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Leave, maybe even to noon, depending on the situation, right? And then we all had kids. Then people started leaving a little earlier, then a lot earlier, and then not even showing up,
right?
And so because a lot of us are out of those stages, because a lot of us are now like, all right, well, what do we do with ourselves? Like we forgot who we are and what we used to do and all that type of stuff. So, just talked to somebody earlier this week about that. Hey, our uno nemesis, right? But because of all the other challenges that we've had, we can't seem to get together, because of our adult children and some of their adult decisions, needs, requirements. And then by the time we sit down, it was like, I'm sorry, babe, I don't feel like going nowhere. Mm-hmm. You get what I mean? Babe, you look tired. Like, do you feel like doing that? So I think some of that is where we, like you said, we want to do that stuff out of love, whereas before I wanted to do it out of almost spite. Mm-hmm. it was negative, really negative situation. Where now it's like,
Yeah,
no.
you expect it to prove them wrong. You
Right.
expect it to show up, and show off in some
Right.
kind of way. So, not really showing off, but just kind of showing up like, hey, I made it,
Right.
type of a thing. So,
So right now, I gotta say that the idea of doing things out of love versus expectancy is more prevalent than it's ever been for me. Because everything that we're talking about, thinking about, planning for, praying about, whatever it might be, is really from a love perspective.
right.
It's not out of expecting. Like, we're not expecting to be this. We're not expecting to be that.
Like this very podcast is out of love. We're not expecting to, be podcast superstars where everybody's just we're gonna walk outside and they're just gonna see our face and know who we are.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, somebody did that to me in the market, so they're like, "Wait a minute, I see your face on TikTok," type thing.
But that's not the expectancy. Like,
Yeah,
we don't
it's not.
sit down here at the studio thinking like, oh yeah, like we're trying to get to this and we're expecting that. We don't expect millions of dollars to come from this microphone.
Wait a second. Are we sure? I'm joking. I'm joking.
What you talking about, Willis?
Yeah, I know, right?
We do this as a labor of love.
Oh,
we
yeah,
do
most
this
def.
out of love. We
Most
do this
definitely.
because we enjoy talking to each other and we think that y'all like listening to us talk to each other.
Because as Kafa keeps stating, we're crazy. We have
I
problems.
don't say we crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, we're special.
You keep saying it. Yeah,
We're
we're
special.
special. We're special.
Yeah, we're special. We weren't even on a bus. People had to walk with us. We got kicked off the bus.
Got kicked off the bus. Mm-mm. You so special. You don't even get to. You don't even. Your bus so short. You don't even have one.
Yo, yeah, pretty much. Well, here's the thing. We thank y'all very much.
For being special.
Yeah, and y'all special to us. And I hope that we're special to you.
So special.
And I guess we are because you keep tuning in to us.
Yes.
But we appreciate y'all. And we have been thankful and grateful that you're in our lives. And when we do get to I'm going to be more specific, my 18,000 square foot home that is $3.7 million that has, I think the house had 8 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms, 3 half baths, 2 kitchens, a bowling alley, a pool, and a lake. Could I be any more special than that? That's more direct, isn't it? So when we have that particular home, and y'all are more than welcome to, visit outside the gate.
So special.
Y'all can see it from the gate. I'll wave to you. I'll wave. I'll even come to the gate. I'll even come to the gate, and I'll give y'all some crackers and feed me the crackers. You know how they do that?
The zoo?
Right.
So special.
So yeah, that's
Hey,
how
y'all
special.
praying because he's special. Please pray.
And I'm gonna come outside in my bathrobe.
Oh God.
With my name printed all up and down the sleeve. Yup. That's how special I want to be. Why are you shaking your head like that? Why you frown up your lips like that?
All I have to say is thank you all very much for listening. Tune in next week for another special episode.
Talk to y'all later.
This week's episode has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.